Hi everyone, welcome to Fluids ES 2330 at Northwest College for the summer 2019 semester. My name is Astrid Northrup and I will be your instructor for this class. The class is pretty quick paced, so I wanted to send an introductory video to you before we get into the material so that there won't be any surprises. Normally speaking, this 3-credit class is offered during the fall or spring semester when we have 16 weeks to complete the material. Over the summer, we complete it in, well, 6 weeks, more or less. So it's pretty quick. But the good news is hopefully you don't have as many other obligations. And the other good news is that the material's all laid out and all ready to go, so we shouldn't stumble in any way. We should be able to get right to it. But there are a few things I want to cover today. First is how to access the course material. The second one is to go over our syllabus, and mixed in with that, I want to go through a homework template, the way that I would like to see your homework come in and to have your exams done for full credit. So having said that, let's get started. The first thing here on my screen, you'll see I'm on my landing page or my mynwc.edu page. Now, yours is going to look similar to this, not exactly the same because, of course, as a student, your page is going to look a little bit different, but it'll be 9/10 the same. In order to access the material for this course, over on the upper right-hand side of your screen, there is a Moodle logo. Moodle is the learning management system that we use for this class. And you'll choose the course that we're in, which is Fluid Dynamics for the summer of 2019. And that will bring up your page. Now, as far as, once again, the page that you see on the screen right now is going to be 90% what yours looks like. There are some hidden materials, these announcements and so forth, that are for me, and you won't have to worry about them. But basically, the first thing that we'll look at is a homework template, followed by some other elements of the course that we'll talk about as we go forward. Now, all of you, because this is fluids, there are several prerequisites for this course. So I know that you've been through some engineering science and or physics and also calculus 1, 2, and hopefully 3. So the way that the homework needs to be presented should not be too much of a surprise to you. I understand that this is pretty formal, but at this level of study, it's expected that all of the problems look like pieces of professional work. So this homework template shows the way that I would like all of your homework to come in. First of all, you'll notice that it's done on engineering comp paper. The most common color is green, but you can use gray or yellow or anything else. But the important thing is that it has to be engineering comp paper with a quadral grid and these margins on the sides. Paper pulled out of a notebook is not acceptable for this class, nor is ring binder paper. So invest in a little bit of engineering composition paper if you haven't already. Now, first of all, along the top, I want these 4 elements every single time. The due date, not the date that you're doing your homework, but the date that it's due. And that date can be found on the syllabus and on our Moodle page. We'll talk about those in just a moment. Then the course number, here this would be ES 2330. And then something to identify the homework. In other words, here the best identification would be the chapter 1 homework, chapter 2 homework, and so forth. There are 10 homework assignments in this class. 9 of them, are from chapters 1 through 9. And then the first homework assignment that we're going to do is a math pretest. So the first one that you'll turn in would say ES 2330 math pretest, and then the next one that you'll turn in a few days would be ES 2330 chapter 1. Okay, then on the top of every single page, I want you to put your last name, comma, and your first name. So not just on the first page of the homework, but if you have 6 pages on the homework, every page has to have this information. Now, over here in the upper right-hand corner, we have which page this is out of how many total pages there are. So you're not going to really be able to fill this one in until you're done. You're not going to know how many pages your homework will consist of until you get to the end. But on every page, I want the first one to be, for example, if it was a 6-page homework, 1 out of 6. The next would be 2 out of 6, and so forth. Now, as far as the problem setup, it's you don't have to change pages. In other words, you can have more than one problem per page, or you can start a problem that you don't finish on a particular page. But every problem has to be clearly demarcated from the other problems by putting problem and then the number of the problem off to the side. Now, since we have different chapters with different numbers, I want this to be like problem 1.1 would be chapter 1, problem 1, whatever came out of the homework in the book. But this number needs to indicate what chapter you're working from. Sometimes people turn in the wrong chapters. Accidentally, they put them in the wrong submission tab. So I can't find them very easily unless you indicate to me clearly which chapter that homework problem is from. The other part I always tell people is all engineering problems are like essay problems. The answer is important, but the more important thing is your thought process. I want to see how you reasoned it out. So a number alone is essentially never a complete answer, and you will not get full credit for that type of an answer. So some of the steps that are common would that you would identify the problem. So in other words, you would summarize what the word problem in your textbook said. Then you would draw a sketch or a free body diagram. You would list the theory or principle. Often that would be a formula. You know, it might be, for example, in other classes you've taken first law of thermodynamics or Newton's second law of motion, something like that. Then you list any assumption. Are you assuming that there's no friction? Are you assuming that it's weightless? Are you assuming that, I don't know, gravity, air resistance is not a factor, and so forth? And then the solution. Now, most people like to start at the solution, but you notice there are 1, 2, 3, 4 steps before. So please don't just start doing the math. Do the setup and explain the problem before you get going. Then when you're done doing the math, you'll write the answer equals, and then number plus units almost always off to the side. So you write the problem number off to the left on the top. You write the answer to the right and the bottom. And you can underline it twice or underline it with an arrow or do something to make it pop from the rest of the problem. The answer should be written in about the right number of significant figures. I'm not a real stickler. If it should be 2 and you put 3, that's fine. But please don't put 7 for a problem that really only has 2 significant figures in the answer. Okay, when you're done with the first problem, then you can just draw a line across to separate those problems and then start problem number 2 underneath it. So this is what will be required of you for all of your homework problems. There will be 10 homework sets. The math pretest, which we'll talk about in a minute, and then 9 chapters. I've also got some space for quizzes, and I'm not really sure about how that's going to work yet, but the first quiz would come up with the chapter 1 homework, which is your second homework assignment. So by the time we get to that point, I will fully explain it to you so that there will not be any inconsistencies or any ambiguities about that. Continuing onward, the first thing is that all of my lectures are recorded and they're on YouTube and they're categorized and available through this Moodle page. So you should be able to get everything, including this one, through the Moodle page. But you'll see, for example, when we get started with chapter 1, we have vodcast number 2, because the one I'm doing right now is vodcast number 1, then 3 and 4. So these 3 are associated with chapter 1. There's also a textbook for chapter 1, so you don't have to buy a textbook. I keep many copies of the textbook in my office so that students don't have to buy it, but this is a complete PDF file of chapter number 1. So every textbook chapter is available to you through our Moodle page. After you get done reading through the chapter, watching the vodcasts, then there is a homework assignment, and you will always submit through a button that says submit. So one of my students in this last semester said submit for success. When you want to know what's due, look for the word submit. Okay? And so the submit button has the complete list of homework problems. You see for chapter 1, it's 1, 10, 12, and so forth, up to 88. There's usually about a dozen homework problems, but that varies from chapter to chapter a little bit, but all of them have to be done according to the homework template that we just looked at. All right, the first homework set that we will have is actually a math concepts pretest. The reason I do this is because since we come to each other in this class from different points in our college careers, I don't really know when the last time was you saw some of this in terms of the math required for this course. And so I have a math pretest. I thought it was at this button. Let's see, here it is. The math concepts pretest is right here. And we just take a look at it through here. And what you can see is that there are 6 problems. And they're just a review of statics and calculus and a little bit of general engineering information. But this was written last summer, but it's the same test for this summer. And I want you to go through that using the homework template, complete those 6 problems, and then when you've completed it, it is due by June 7th, and you'll submit it through this button. Now, the only way that you can submit a homework assignment is through Moodle. I cannot take hard copy, so you need to write it as a PDF file. Since these are handwritten tests, I don't have a program that allows me to write these electronically. Someday there will be, and that will simplify things. But right now, everybody's doing it by hand on the green paper. So you'll need to save it as a PDF file. If you are not able to do that with your current setup, if you don't have a scanner, one option you have is there's a free app that you can put on your phone called Office Lens. And Office Lens will allow you to take pictures of your homework and save it as a PDF file, and then you can upload it through the submit buttons. So if you don't have a scanner, I'd recommend that you give that a few minutes and see what you think. And if you have any questions, please call me. It's pretty simple. You can do more than one page. You add pages to it. So you can, if you have a 6-page homework assignment, you can save all of them as a single PDF file and then upload it through Moodle on your phone. Or I suppose you could do it on a tablet or any other device, any other internet connected device as well. All right, so we've kind of got the we've got the handle on what's going on with the class. The next thing I want to do is just go point by point through our syllabus. And the first point is that this is really quick. This is only about 6 weeks long. So we're going from June 3rd to July 17th, and it's worth 3 lecture credits. Most of you are required to take this course for your major in engineering. And as it has a pretty stout math prerequisite, I always assume that your math skills are pretty much on task. So if you have any trouble with the math, please let me know and we'll try to find a way to help you. But generally speaking, students are pretty conversant with these ideas of mathematical solution before they get to this class. Right, so my name again is Astrid Northrup. I am a professional engineer registered in Wyoming and Colorado. My office number on the Northwest College campus is SM Science and Math 117. My office phone is given, and so is my email address. Please don't call and leave a voicemail. I'm not in my office regularly over the summer, so If you leave a voicemail, it may be a long time before I pick it up. Now, if you leave me an email, I will pick it up very quickly. So I strongly recommend that if you need to get a hold of me, that you correspond with me through email rather than voicemail. The objectives of the course are set pretty much to be consistent with other courses in fluid dynamics, but we basically introduce students to the fundamental aspects of fluid dynamics. The successful student will be able to set up and solve problems involving hydrostatics, Bernoulli's equation, Reynolds transport theorem, the Navier-Stokes equation, pressure drop in piping system, analysis of dimensionless groups, and evaluation of centrifugal pumps. A catalog description is listed below. Students study incompressible flow of ideal and real fluids at rest and in motion. Fluids may be liquids, vapors, gases, or combinations. Multi-phase fluids are kind of beyond the scope of this class, but they're pretty cool and lots of fun to study, so some of you will have that opportunity later on, and this course will form a basis for you to get ready to do that. The effects of static forces and compressibility are given special attention. We talk about kinematics, dynamics, flow resistance, and the physical effects of flow. Potential and stream functions and similitude and dimensional analysis are also studied. So it sounds like a lot. Everything builds on everything else, so we'll lay some foundations in the beginning of the course, and we'll go on to have more in-depth discussions as this course goes forward. So the parts of the material that we cover cover chapters 1 through 9, and we have some selected topics in chapter 12. All of these chapters are available on the Moodle page, and as you can see, we don't necessarily cover every page of every chapter, but I've broken it up by sections or pages for each one of those. The textbook is The Fundamentals of Fluid Mechanics, the 4th edition by Munson, Young, Okishi, and Hewitt from John Wiley & Sons. It was published in 2002. The majority of the theory that fluid mechanics is based upon came up in the 18th and 19th centuries, so 2002 is not as old as it seems. The book and the material has remained static for quite some time. There's been a lot of advances to modeling using computer software, and that will greatly simplify your life, and not in this class, but when you practice, and also will allow you to make a lot more what-if scenarios when you are modeling fluid systems, either whatever field of study you're in. Okay, the next page, schedule. We have 2 proctored exams, which are 2 hours each. The deadline for taking the midterm is the 24th of June. The deadline for taking the final is the 17th of July. There are different ways that you can be proctored. If you are in the PAL area, I can proctor you. If you're not in the PAL area, you can either make an appointment with me and I can proctor you using Zoom, which is an online interactive program, or you can find a proctor at your home institution. If you do find a proctor that is not me, we need to clear it ahead of time, because I need to vet that person and establish communication with that person individually. So if I'll send out some notices a week or so ahead of time that if you're not going to proctor with me, that you need to give me some information so that I can make sure that your proctor will meet the requirements of this class. All right, now down here I talk about homework being in 2 parts, a written part submitted through Moodle, and then a quiz. Right now I have down that we would do 10 homework assignments and 8 quizzes. We may just do 4 quizzes, or we may just do 2 quizzes. Those will not be proctored, but they will be timed. So like I said, I'm not 100% sure about that yet, but I will be before the first one comes up. So as long as I have any ambiguity about how I'm going to do this, you will not be responsible for any of the material. So when I solidify exactly what I want to do with the quizzes, I will let you know. All right, now this is also, I need to change this. It says at the bottom of our Moodle page you'll find a Submit Late Homework button. I have, since writing this, I've changed it so that you can submit late through the regular homework buttons. And because Moodle has a timestamp as to when you submitted, I'll always know when you submitted. So if you're late, you will lose credit, but if you're a little late, you lose a little credit, and if you're extraordinarily late, you lose a lot of credit. So my best advice to you is to try to submit ahead of time, but if you're 5 minutes late, it's not going to cost you very much in terms of credit. And I can see that. I have access to that information as soon as you submit. So it's easier for me if you submit on time, because I grade everybody's homework assignments at the same time. So if I have an outlier, if you're very late and I don't grade yours when I grade everybody else's, it generally will be a long, long time before I get it graded. So if you submit on time, I'll have your grades up to speed and you'll know exactly where you stand all the time. So that's the best way for us to get through this class. Here we have the vodcasts, and they tend to be between half an hour and an hour long. The first vodcast is the one I'm doing right now, and the assignment is the math pretest, which we've gone over. Then 2 through 4 and all of the rest of these are available on our Moodle page, and so you'll watch them, read through the chapter that's also on the Moodle page, then do your homework, submit it through Moodle on or before the deadline. So that's how we will stay up to speed with all of our work. Chapter 12 is a chapter on turbo machines, and due to time constraints, I have made this optional and extra credit. So at this point, only the math pretest in chapters 1 through 9 are required material for this class. All right, so like I said, office hours are by appointment only, but if you contact me via email, we can always set up times that are convenient for both of us, and we can use Zoom, which is an interactive program, so that we can talk more or less face-to-face, and you can get instant feedback, or we can talk via the phone, or we can email each other. So we have a lot of different options. We just need to set those times when you need to visit with me, and I'm available all summer, so very few exceptions. How is this course graded? Well, the homework is worth 20%, the midterm exam, which is proctored, is worth 40%, and the final exam is worth 40%. So that homework will be the written assignments submitted through Moodle and the quizzes in equal parts. Just like I said, the quiz part, I haven't fully developed that yet. So, but it will be equal to the same amount. But what it means is the big deal is the midterm and the final. The homeworks and the quizzes are designed exclusively to get you ready for the midterm and the final. Not just in terms of the content, but in terms of the format, what's expected of you as an engineering student. So when you do your homework, I will give you feedback not only on your answers but on your process and on your format. And I hope that you will take that to heart, because those are explicitly given to you so that you will be able to do well on your exams, which obviously are the largest part of your grade. Now, it's been my experience that if you do all of the homework and you take the exams on time and you do everything on time, that the chances of you passing this course are very, very good. If you fall behind, it's going to be very difficult to pass. So although the pace is quick and there's a lot of material, keeping up with it and doing something every single day is really the best way to succeed in this class. And because everything's online, you can take it with you wherever you go. So you can always try to find an hour in whatever your busy day holds to spend some time doing a little bit of reading or a little bit of homework. And if you do that, I feel strongly that you will have a positive outcome in this class. All right, so we talk a little bit about the homework assignments and so forth. Now, this is just some information that's put on every syllabus at Northwest College. We are dedicated to removing barriers. So if you have any disabilities, you can call our Disability Support Service Coordinator, or you can visit with me and I can put you in touch with the right people. I'm not trained in disability support, so I need to rely on my colleagues to help me, but I do guarantee that anything that you need to accommodate any sort of an ADA issue you will receive that accommodation. So make sure you talk to me or call our DSS coordinator. We're also committed to ensuring that Title IX policies are upheld. So we will not discriminate on that basis in any way. And there are several protected classes in the state of Wyoming, and we don't discriminate based on any of those classes. So there's some more information about that. If you need more information, we do have a Title IX coordinator, or you can talk to me about it as well. Then we talk about respect for diversity and the procedure to withdraw. So if you find that you cannot, for whatever reason, finish this class, you need to have a conversation with me. If you just quit coming, you will fail. So we need to officially drop or withdraw you from the class. And you can do that through me, but we have to have a conversation first. The actual dropping, if it becomes too late for you to do it online yourself, would have to go through our admissions office. But if that becomes the case, please talk to me about it. We'll take care of it. But don't just quit coming. All right. Our final exam schedule is available, but if this is the only class you're taking, our final exam is on July 17th and before midnight Mountain Standard Time, or Mountain Daylight Time, I guess, is where we are right now, within an hour or two. So if you are in another country, for example, in a significantly different time zone, we will work something out. But you just need to talk to me about these things so that I can make sure to work with you so that you can be successful. Okay. There's also a list of Northwest College student resources. We have an emergency procedure guide, but since we're an internet class, I don't think that's going to be an issue. But if there's anything that you have questions about, please let me know. All right, so that is pretty much it for this class. Your marching orders for today are to make sure that you can get into our system at mynwc.edu, that you can access our Moodle page, that you can complete the math concepts pretest, look for the first submit button, click that and submit a single PDF file, and follow the homework template. So if you have any questions, I hope you will not hesitate to get a hold of me. I love to work with students. I love to help you with anything that I can help you with, and all you have to do is ask. So that's what I'm here for. All right, well, you have a wonderful day. This video is 28 minutes long, so I will boost it to Facebook, I'll boost it to YouTube. I will email it to you, and I will post it to our Moodle page. So if you have any questions, call me, and otherwise, have a great day.